Hi there, and welcome to Polly's podcast. I'm Polly, and today I'm going to talk to you about the carnivore diet, the ever so popular carnivore diet. It's a very powerful tool to have in your arsenal, right? Same with the keto diet or the all-fat diet, or you're going on a low-fat diet. These are all tools that go into your toolbox for when you need them, depending on what you need them for. Now, let me explain to you something about the carnivore diet specifically, because I think we're misrepresenting and misunderstanding the carnivore diet. There are two ways you can go about the carnivore diet. And it all depends on what your specific needs are. So for an example, if I am extremely obese, which I used to be obese, I will go on to the full carnivore diet, which is high fat, high meat, for 90 days. And even though I am already obese and have a lot of stored body fat, I can consume high amounts of animal fat and still burn through stored fat. However, what happens after 90 days is a very common thing, and that is that the body will stop dropping weight. And it says, hold up, we need to stop dropping weight. We're not comfortable with this. We want to hold on to some of this body fat, this visceral fat. All right. So then there's all this frustration. There's all these mixed feelings and emotions that come along with that, right? There are ways that you can use the carnivore diet, to break through stalls. And that is, if you go through a stall, what you can do is start to concentrate and prioritize lean food, lean meat. If you transition from a full carnivore of 90 days and you end up having a stall, you can break through that stall by cutting out all of the dietary fat. This forces the body to use stored fat for you to be alive, for you to move, for you to do things and get things done. And, everything will be dependent upon the stored body fat for energy. So instead of the dietary fat that it can store, granted, it's very difficult for the body to store dietary fat unless it comes from seed oils, then it's easier. But animal fat, no, that's difficult, very difficult. All right, so I also want to talk to you about something called free food. So it's a system that I developed a long time ago that I call free food, whereby it does not cause weight gain. Meat is one of them, but there are other things. Now, some people cannot tolerate vegetables, so this is not for you. But if you can tolerate vegetables, these are the free foods. These are free foods that you can not really get fat from eating them. You cannot really gain weight from eating them in a healthy amount or appropriately. That means you're going to have to omit the sugary sweet dips. So for an example, mushrooms, they're a free food. If you have to snack, which I'm not a proponent of, I'm not a proponent of snacking. And if you would like to learn more about the research behind why snacking is not a good idea, please look for Jason Fung, Dr. Jason Fung, F-U-N-G. He's a Canadian nephrologist, and he's written several books, and he's on YouTube. He talks about these things all the time. Please do your own research. Do not listen to me. Not on anything that matters. Please, I'm begging you to please look up Dr. Jason Fung and hopefully do some other research on top of that. Because I don't want to be repeating things that other people say, because I could, create a misunderstanding, and that's not what I want. Okay, so fresh food. Free fresh food for snacking, which I'm not a proponent of, but also for an hors d'oeuvre. If you want to start your meal a little bit early, okay. What about mushrooms? All kinds of different mushrooms. And when I said no sweet dips, no sugary dips, who's to say you can't use balsamic vinegar? I don't know. Sounds good to me. Another free fresh food is cauliflower. Now, it's high in fiber. It's a useless food. I understand that. It is not part of the necessary macros of the human body. I get that. But you know what? Sometimes you might want a little something. And this is the way to get it for free without worrying that you're going to gain fat from doing it, or lose body mass, lose body muscle, lose bone mass, and not gain weight, and keeping the inflammatory systems at bay. So, free fresh foods: mushrooms, cauliflower, broccoli, seaweed. That's so interesting. Seaweed. I love seaweed. Zucchini, cabbage, cucumber, and celery, all free food. Now, I keep these to an absolute bare minimum because I don't have the cravings for snacking anymore. But if I'm going to host a tea party, or if I'm going to host a luncheon, and I'm going to put out a little hors d'oeuvre, that's what I'm going to put out. So I'm going to keep away from the olives. I'm going to keep away from the oily foods, right? Because we're talking about somebody who's obese. I was obese. So I'm not going to, put out oils and things like that. Because the objective was for me to drop that visceral fat, burn through it, and force my body to break through stalls. So for the first 90 days, I did a full carnivore, high fat, high protein, and it worked. It worked like a miracle. It was like magic. Perfect for me. Okay, so after the 90 days, I hit a stall. I did a sardine fast. Then I did another stall, and I did a go lean fast. So anytime you want to break a stall, you want to look into doing carnivore the right way. And that is to use it as a tool. So there are so many ways to break a stall. Literally hundreds of ways. So my way is not the only way. I'm just telling you what I did. A 1 week of sardine fasting, which means I only ate sardines for 1 week. Not only does it teach you, like Dr. Boz says, not only does it teach you the difference between a craving and a hunger. These are two different things. But you're really not going to overeat sardines. And if you do, you're only going to do it once or twice. They're not very tasty. And there are not very many ways to improve a sardine. Okay, so a sardine fast. The next thing is go lean. And when I say go lean, if you're on the carnivore diet and you don't want to put any vegetables or fruit in your diet because you're going full on carnivore. You're not hosting any luncheons. You're not hosting any tea parties. Go lean. You might eat more meat, but you're going to go lean, super lean. Cut out the fat. Stop the butter. Stop using oils to cook. Stop using fatty cuts of meat. Cut the excess fat off of the meat before you cook it. Go lean. Eat the white, skinless chicken breast. That's so lean. You can cook that in 10 different ways. Come on. There's chicken salad. There's shredded chicken. There's baked chicken. There's steamed chicken. There's stir fry in a hot cast iron pan where you do not need any butter or fat or oil. Go lean. Cut out the seed oils. Cut out the tallow. Cut out the pork lard and go lean. Try it for 1 week, but you have to have body fat. I'm never going to suggest that somebody who is thin and doesn't have enough body fat to sustain themselves for a whole week to do this. You have to use common sense. And I realize a lot of people don't use common sense. So I have to say this out loud. It's embarrassing, but I'm going to say it anyway. If you are thin, do not attempt to do this. Also, if you are a human being listening and watching this podcast right now, do not, under any circumstances, do what I do without checking with your doctor first. So I'm sharing with you personal, private experience. I broke through plateaus by going on a sardine fast. I broke a plateau by going lean, super lean on my meats. And I stayed carnivore. And I went lean carnivore. So that my body was forced to use stored body fat for energy. And for me, my body runs so well on stored body fat. It's amazing. It's amazing. The fuel that my body fuels itself with is prime when it comes from stored body fat. So let's see here. And I told you about the free foods, okay? So everyone has their own very personal, very private, very intimate food diary or food menu or food needs, okay? So some carnivores may not eat a 100% carnivore diet all the time. They may be something like 90-10, 90% meat, 10% something else, all right? 70% meat and the rest something else. So look, I'm not here to judge. I'm not judging. Believe me, I'm not. I want to help. So the free foods, if you have to absolutely snack and you don't have prepared meat or fish or jerky or beef sticks, always remember that you can go for celery. You can go for mushrooms, cauliflower, broccoli, seaweed, zucchini, cabbage, cucumber, and celery. These are free foods. So I don't eat a lot of vegetables because of the oxalates and the high fiber. I don't need them. But if I want to, I will. I don't live in this crazy bubble where my diet is my religion. I am an omnivore, and if I have to scavenge and eat tree bark, I probably would. I'm not going to, but at least I know I can. All right, so when you're at a stall and you don't change it, you're not going to get a result that you're pleased with. That is not to say that if you wait it out long enough that it won't change. Because everybody knows that there's hundreds of diets out there and hundreds of ways to burn through body fat. There's not just one way. This is the way I am using, right? Because it's worked for me. So I'm sharing with you the mistakes that are made sometimes. And that is that if you hit a carnivore stall, maybe you're putting things in your body that your body does not need anymore. Because every 90 days or so, the body is changing. Mine does. Hopefully yours does. But check with your doctor to see if yours does, because it may not. I don't know. Everybody's different. So if you're going to go on a 90-day hard carnivore, that means food elimination, just meat, poultry, bacon, eggs, right? Butter, tallow, pork lard. And you hit a stall. Let that stall go for a week or two. I let it go for 3 to 4 weeks before I do anything about it, because I like the body to reset to that lower weight and stay there for a while. And then I kick it into gear. I shock it into gear. So I go lean, 100% lean. And I go lean animal. That means egg whites, no yolks. I will do chicken white meat on the chicken, and always skinless, because I'm lowering the fat all the way. I will do lean cuts of beef, very lean cuts of beef. And if there's fat on the outside, I will trim it off. And what I do is I render that and put it in a jar for when I'm not doing lean. So nothing goes to waste. I do lean cuts of pork. My pigs are naturally lean because they don't get any grain. They don't get corn, soy, wheat, barley, or oats, because I don't feed them anything that contains aflatoxins or mycotoxins, which are toxic molds, right? That's one of the reasons why I just grow my own meat. It's so much easier for me to grow my own meat, my own poultry, my own eggs, beef, pork, lamb, goat, because I don't want molds in my diet. Molds are hard on my liver, hard on my kidneys, and again, everybody's different. Not to mention, aflatoxins, mycotoxins, these kinds of molds lead to cancer. Look it up for yourself. Never take my word for anything that I say, because science is ever changing. It's ever evolving, right? So please do your own homework, do your own research, be your own expert. And this way we don't have a miscommunication or a misunderstanding. When I go lean, when I do like a lean week or a lean month or a lean 2 weeks, I'm doing it safely because I have enough stored body fat. So yes, I'm dropping weight still. And my body's done dumping glycogen. It was done dumping glycogen after I was done with my first 3 months. So the first 3 months, that was when the first few weeks, my body was dumping water from the fat stores and glycogen, right? Dumping it out of the body, burning fat. So nothing has changed dramatically in my diet. I have not included pasta, rice, beans. I have not included bread or high carbohydrate potatoes into my diet since then. So there's no reason to have an excessive amount of glycogen stores in my body anymore, or a lot of stored liquid moisture. That doesn't happen anymore. So that means a couple of things. One, I pee a bit more frequently. You will notice that if you're not eating carbohydrates, you're going to urinate a bit more frequently. Because when we eat carbohydrates, when I eat carbohydrates, water is stored in those carbohydrates. Also, water is stored in the fat. So I don't want to have stored liquids anymore. I'm good. I'm happy the way that things are going for me. And it's been a terrific journey, and the journey I hope is still continuing. I'm so grateful. And I'm so grateful that I have YouTube, that I can share my journey with you. So doing carnivore is a very personal and private thing that is between you and yourself, right? But it's not, for me, it's not a religion, and I don't live in a bubble. And there are ways to tweak it, to make it right for you. You have to figure it out. So for an example, if you really want to have a little gold potato, and you're craving a little gold potato, and you haven't had one in a very long time because you're sticking to this and you are fighting the good fight, steam one up in your Instant Pot or boil one up, a small one, and eat it with your protein. But avoid putting butter or oil on it. Eat it with your meat, and eat it with salt or some other seasonings. No sour cream. No butter, no oils, no fats, no sour cream. Okay, if you want to put a tablespoon of non-fat yogurt, do it. Non-fat yogurt. Not low fat, non-fat yogurt. Non-fat. Okay, you can also do that, like take the yogurt and then make like a Greek tzatziki sauce, which contains a little bit of lemon and dill and garlic, right? But avoid the olive oil because this is lean. And that could mimic a type of a sour cream. It's not sour cream, but it is still delicious and it's non-fat. So that, and then what you do is you track your macros. Make sure you're getting enough protein. Make sure that you're getting enough amino acids in your diet. And the next day after you eat the potato, check to see how you feel. Weigh yourself. You should be weighing yourself every single day anyway, because you cannot measure that you do not track. So you should be tracking and measuring height to waist ratio. So your waist should be half of your height or smaller. So, or the scale, stand on the scale. And at the same time every single day, in the nude, so that you get a proper reading. And make sure the scale is actually in the same spot every single time you get on it. And just write down what it says. All right? So you can be a carnivore and you can eat lean at the same time if you have enough body fat. If you don't have enough body fat, you're going to burn calories so much that you're doing yourself an injustice. So don't do it. If you have body fat that you can get rid of, that you don't need, maybe if your doctor and you both agree, you could do this for a week or 2 or 3 or 4, okay? Depending on, you will burn fat so fast, you're not going to believe what is happening before your eyes. Your face is going to look 10 years younger. Your body is going to morph back to what you were at your optimum weight. Because dietary fat, although it's not bad for you, if you're already storing and carrying and holding on to a lot of body fat, it can attract more body fat, especially if you're not as active as an athlete. Come on now, you know this. It's hard to hear the truth. I understand that influencers will say things like, eat fat. It doesn't cause any harm, which is true if it's an animal fat. I'm not saying it causes harm. It does not. It's a great thing. I'm standing here, sitting here, talking to you, 40 pounds lighter than what I was going on, like 7 months ago, right? And I ate a ton of fat for those first 3 months. So I'm not going to say that it's bad. You know what's bad for you is seed oils like corn oil, canola oil. These oils are so disgusting. Vegetable oil. What is that? What is vegetable oil? Oh my goodness gracious. There is not a single vegetable that I have ever juiced or squeezed that oil came out of. That is disgusting. So I don't know what that is, but when I consume vegetable oils, they are rancid in my body. They cause problems in my body. They cause me to store body fat because they don't know where to go. They don't know my body doesn't know what to do with that. You might be different. Congratulations. But seed oils are terrible for me and terrible for most other people also. So, especially they go rancid so quickly. Now, during my lean week or lean 2 weeks or lean 3 weeks, I do not use any oil. No olive oil, no tallow, no pork lard, no butter. And I certainly never advocate for fake butter like margarine. What is that? That is vile. Whoa. That is disgusting to me. No. So going lean is tough. I air fry when I go lean. I steam. I boil. If I'm going to fry, I will really heat that cast iron pan up so high. And then I throw the meat in there and sear it. And then just let it sit. Once it comes loose from the pan, I know that it's done. Then I'll flip it over. But I do fry and I bake. I air fry and I bake. So, it's not forever. It's just for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks. Those days are going to pass, whether you want them to or not. But with this information, you could make an informed decision on what story you want to tell in a week from now, or 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks from now. A lot of mistakes can be made on the carnivore diet, and a lot of people make them. They make them all the time because they misunderstand. They think that going carnivore means you have to eat a lot of fat. And it's not true. Because sometimes fat can help you, dietary fat that you're taking in, can prevent your body from burning stored fat. That's a biohack, by the way. It's a biological hacking mechanism. It's to when you override a biological system and force your body to do something that it wouldn't normally do. That's called a biological hacking mechanism. So if you want to biohack your body into burning stored body fat so fast that your head's going to spin, cut the fat, go lean. And what did I say? I said this is not advice, especially for anybody who's underweight or skinny. Although skinny people can be fat, that requires a scan. There's a thing called skinny fat that requires a scan, like an MRI or a CAT scan, to determine how much visceral fat is around the organs. Okay? So I hope this is helpful. Look, this is a brand new channel. I am documenting my journey with you. This is 100% free. Please subscribe to Polly's podcast and hit the notification bell to be notified when I go live or whenever a video gets published. I publish all the time. Every week I'm publishing. So stay tuned. And if you think that my content specifically will help somebody that you know and care about, please share this information with them. All right. So until next time, thank you for joining me here on Polly's podcast. And be happy and be healthy. Bye for now.